Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Lessick, and this is Podcast for Liberty. And as usual, Podcast for Liberty is brought to you by the Society for Liberty and Prosperity. We are defending one's ability to exercise their civil rights, and that is growing to be much more of a full time job every day. Federal government has under assault our way of life and our way of living. Every day is a new challenge for Joe Biden's un American leadership. Every day there is plenty to do, plenty to see. Let me urge you to go to www.societylp.8m.net and join our happy crew. We're doing all we can to preserve our way of life and to preserve our beloved union. You can also donate, help with the cause and the monetary. I myself am working on this full time. I need to pay my bills too. I have others in the same boat. They're donating far beyond what they can afford to do, and we could use some, and they could use a paycheck as well. On top of that, the projects such as our civics classes, advocacy, and uh, and other endeavors. There are expenses that need to be paid for, like gas for travel, insurance for the cars, maintenance on our cars. And all this needs to be paid for, and it is quite a challenge with so little coming in, so much going out to keep it going. But we're going to keep it going. We have a dedicated crew that is taking money out of their own pocket for expenses and going without a paycheck to do what it is they do, preserving our liberty. Please join and donate today. And today is September 11th, 2021. That's the 20th anniversary of the World Trade Center attack on September 11th, 2001. It is hard to believe that Joe Biden pulled this out after 20 years, saying that that was the longest war we've ever had. No, it's not the longest war we've ever had. It's not the longest war that's ever been fought. And we weren't fighting a war for 20 years. President Bush ordered the troops, routed the Taliban in short order, and declared victory shortly before going into Iraq and getting Saddam Hussein. In 2011, Al Qaeda was on the ropes. They gave us more trouble. And bin Laden was killed. He was the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks. Since then, the Taliban has been waning and waxing in power and grace. Once in a while, popping their heads out of the foxholes to see what we would do. And each time we were brought back. Then the latter half of President Trump's reign, President Trump kept them in their foxholes, and they stayed in their foxholes. They didn't even want to risk him because they knew what was in store for them should they come out. We weren't losing any troops in 2020, 2021. We could have stayed there, just as we stayed in Germany, Korea, just as we stayed in a great many places around the world. Yes, we're still in Germany. And yes, we're still in Korea. Those wars ended long ago. We could have done the same thing in Afghanistan if Joe Biden would have let it. We could have kept a forward troop, and that would have protected us from China and Russia. And instead of having that forward base, Joe Biden gave it up. Ladies and gentlemen, we should have kept those troops there. Now, I'm all for bringing home troops that we don't need to have around the world, but I'm coming to realize the value of having them in a forward base. No, we don't want to fight the endless wars, but the war on terrorism is not yet over, just as the war on drugs is not yet over. And Joe Biden wants to fight those wars forever. Joe Biden is the one that wants the forever war because it's a wash with money. It puts money into the government coffers. Only it's not enough. He wants to redistribute the money to give it to those who do not earn it, to make an easy life for some without purpose. A man needs to have a purpose in life. Now, hopefully, it's a purpose he loves and appreciates. But a man needs to have a purpose in life. He also needs to be well paid for, either through charity or through the free market. We are all worthy of our hire, and the workman is worthy of his hire. But we do have to work for it. And there should be no man that should be allowed to just sit on his butt and not do anything to work. For it is written, if a man doesn't work, neither should he eat. Now, if a man does work, that work should be respected and honored and compensated. Now, the thing is, yes, there are a great many scams in the world. People would promise things they do deliver, and that is wrong as well. And that should not be rewarded either. The work that I'm talking about is good, honest work, doing whatever it is your heart leads you to do. Your heart and your mind lead you to do. Free market paves the way. And then there are a great number of charities that are worthy, that are out there doing the job, like the Society for Liberty and Prosperity, like the United Way, like your local church. Ladies and gentlemen, 20 years ago, President Bush made an announcement.
.343 fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, those are the words of President George Bush on September 11th, 2001. He fulfilled his promise. And then since then, President Obama did the best he could to maintain the promise. And then when President Obama's tenure was over, President Trump not only fulfilled the promise, but in making no distinction between terrorist organizations and those who harbor them, he virtually destroyed the Taliban and did destroy Al Qaeda and ISIS, two major terrorist organizations. Do not be deceived. The Taliban is not a government agency. They are a terrorist organization. Whether it is their religion or their nature, their method of operation is to take their enemies, torture them, and kill them. And America is one of their enemies. They have said so. And Joe Biden has, whether it's in fear, contemplation, or intentionally, with malice and forethought, withdrawn from their face and allowed them to retake Afghanistan, to set themselves up as the government. Already, the Taliban is a recognized authority by China and Russia and Iran. I believe there's a United States motion that's going to be voted on soon that will take the United Nations recognition of the Taliban as the government of Afghanistan, saying as the Afghanistan government is gone, virtually gone. And the Taliban has declared, in declaring that the United States is an enemy, that they will round up the Americans and those who support them, torture the men, rape the women, and kill them. And I believe that is already taking place. Not only is Joe Biden withdrawn and invited them in, but he blocks the Americans from going out. His State Department is denying landing rights to private contractors, American citizens who are attempting to rescue as many American citizens and Afghan supporters as possible. There are several 747, 737. These are airliners. They hold 2, 3, 400 people. The latest word I got, and I'm dubious because of the source, that there are 22 people that are lifted out yesterday. Even if it's true, that is a far cry from what it should be. And one of the charities on one plane have on their manifest 132 persons that have already been vetted, that have been removed from the plane. And many of them, the whereabouts are unknown. If those are the 22, then what happened to the other 86? Are they alive or are they dead? Are they being tortured in some prison? I don't know. But I do know the State Department is not giving landing clearances for any of these planes, so they cannot take off. Because when you take off, you have to file a flight path report stating where you're taking off from, where you're landing to. And reputable airlines follow that rule, even if it is internally, even if it is outside of the government realm. The Taliban have no right or responsibility to plan manifests, yet our government gave them manifests. So therefore, they have a ready hit list. They know who these Americans are, and they know who these supporters are. They know because they were on the airplane. Have they been taken into custody already? I don't know. Are they in custody? Are they being tortured? Are they being killed? Have they been killed? If they've been killed, that blood is on President Joe Biden's hands. And if they've been killed, then Joe Biden should stand impeachment for treason. Already, Joe Biden is in jeopardy of standing for impeachment for treason because the aid and comfort that he has given to the enemy, namely the Taliban. In a withdrawal, he has given almost $1 trillion worth of equipment to the Taliban, including fighter jets, helicopters, air, airplanes, trucks, tanks, vehicles, arms, small arms and large arms. Joe Biden single handedly took the Taliban from the weakest military force in the world, Trump having defeated them, to the strongest next to the United States military force in the world. Indeed, they could take on a great many nations, and they choose to ally themselves with China, and they wish to align themselves with Russia, and they choose to align themselves with Iran. Those are the superpowers of the world. Joe Biden is attempting to make the United States weak. He is attempting to make the perception of the United States weak. Our friends and even more our enemies don't feel we can be trusted anymore. And they're wondering what's going on because it's been since January, President Biden's inauguration. 9 months it took us to get to this place. And nobody's quite mind wrapped around it yet. At this point, Hillary Clinton said, at this point, it doesn't really matter. But yet, I think somehow it does. I don't think it's going to happen, but should we go back in there, push Taliban back into their place, destroy the equipment that they have, that we've given to them, bomb them back into the Stone Age? At least we know who we're fighting. We know we got more assets than they do, but I'm not sure I trust Joe Biden to prosecute a war. I'm not sure I trust Joe Biden to do anything to protect the American people, even at home, much less abroad. He's shown he's incapable of doing it abroad. He is incapable of mounting a defense. And I don't think he's capable of policing the world as we have been called upon to do time and again. Joe Biden, for his role in giving aid and comfort to the enemy, namely the Taliban, should stand for impeachment, and I'm calling upon Congress of the United States to perform an investigation into the facts and come up with articles of impeachment and send them to the Senate. And the Senate to immediately take up the issue because we do not need President Biden in office any longer than is necessary. I'm not so sure his vice president would be much better. In fact, I think, not fair, she may be worse, but how much worse can it get? There's already a push on to destroy the Constitution. They're trying to call the Constitution as offensive hate speech, which is ridiculous. Nowhere in history have there been more better, more eloquent words of faith, liberty, and justice than there have been in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. Founding documents founded on the premise that all men are created equal. And we translate that today to be all are created equal. Without regard to sex, color, race, creed, nationality, political belief. The left has got it wrong. It is not their beliefs that are supreme. It is our beliefs that make us strong. Our beliefs together. The left has their place basically in domestic tranquility and charity. And the right has its place in law and order and the economy. Problem comes in is when either side steps outside of what they're supposed to be. That's why the Democrat Party and the Republican Party has survived so long. And survived since the Civil War. The Democrat Party predates the Civil War, but the Republican Party was established during the Civil War to bring sanity to an otherwise corrupt system. It is a lot of heartache. It is up to us now, the Republican. It is up to us now as Republicans and as it's to rise up and put an end to the communist takeover from the enemies to the Union. Mitch McConnell, I'm talking especially to you. We need to rise up and stop this march toward communism. You and your comrades and I don't use that term lightly. You and your comrades in the establishment Republicans need to get that stiff upper lip and start fighting for the Union. It may already be too late. Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, and the rest of them will stop at nothing less than total destruction of the Union. And you, the establishment Republicans, are about to let them have it. And I don't think you all want to live in that world. There is no freedom there. Not when we got the Chinese guarding the streets. Oh, they haven't been invited in yet, but they'll be invited in soon. Before they get invited in, Joe Biden's going to be trying to grab all the guns. So all the patriots and the Malaysians hold fast to your guns. That may be the only protection we have against a hostile world. They are criticizing us, calling us nothing but a bunch of goons with God and guns. Well, be that as it may, it's kept us safe for 245 years. Hopefully, it'll continue to keep us safe. With the current events, I believe the safety is off for the powder keg unless Joe Biden smartens up or he gets impeached or something along those lines happen. We will be into another civil war. And I hope that is not the case. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. I just seen I had a technical glitch I had to take care of. I rectified the problem. My apologies. Had to reach across the table. Wasn't no better. There wasn't any better way to deal with it. I was hoping to sneak it by you. I should know better. Ladies and gentlemen, I found a tribute on NBC News that I wanted to share with y'all. One moment. Open and drop out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John. Something's matter with sound, apparently.
September 11th, Tuesday, 2001.
Well, as we stand 31 stories above the 9/11 memorial in this hallowed ground, think back to that day 20 years ago that the city and our world changed forever. And of course, it is a day that we'll never forget. But the timeline of that morning, all these years later, might be a bit of a blur to you now.
It was a terror attack that left the Twin Towers gone on fire. Anchor Chuck Scarborough reported on all of to real through that morning. Chuck.
September 11th. Natalie, Tuesday, 2001 was a crystal clear day. Very much like 2001 was a crystal clear day. A perfect day for flying, and a perfect like this one day. Al Qaeda jihadis to perpetrate the most devastating attack in American history, turning airliners filled with unsuspecting men, women, and children into missiles that would claim 7 lives.
Nice and comfortable Tuesday.
Thousands of New York City voters are expected to cast their ballots today in the primaries.
And heated Democratic mayoral primary.
It's a good time to get out to the polls and vote.
A stop on the way to work for many New Yorkers in Lower Manhattan. 300 miles away, hijackers Mohammed Atta and Aziz Al-Amari have security at Portland International Airport in Maine. 17 other hijackers will pass through Logan, Newark, and Dulles Airport over the next '90.